So before doing 41 verses, I thought it was something else. From last night, you know, when we were talking about how some of the things that we've been used to receiving happiness and pleasure from, when we come to the Dharma and we start to look more closely, we see that, you know, yeah, sure, there was some good feeling and some happiness and pleasure, but there were also a lot of problems, and that whatever happiness we have isn't an ultimate happiness. It's not something that's going to last. It's not something that's free of faults in any way. And so we were also discussing how some people, when they first understand this, have this feeling of kind of depression, you know, like, oh, the Buddha just took all my happiness away from me. How am I ever going to have any happiness now? Yeah? And you meet so many people like this, you know, when they first begin to understand the Dharma. It's like, oh, Dharma is really depressing, it's pessimistic, you know. And then all these misconceptions about, well, then pleasure is bad and happiness is bad and I'm sinful and evil if I am happy, and you know, so that whole thing on one side. But then just this feeling of kind of being upset, yeah, because I counted on all these things for happiness, and now you're telling me that they're not happiness, and we're upset. You know, we're not quite sure what we're upset at. If we're upset with the Buddha for making it apparent to us, or if we're upset with the things that we used to think were the cause of happiness, because you betrayed me, you're supposed to be the cause of happiness. You know. Our mind's very confused. We're not really so clear what we're upset about, but we're just upset in general. And I was thinking that actually, you know, I think that upsetness comes because one part of the mind is still clinging on to those things as the source of happiness. You know, the mind doesn't really want to accept that that they aren't the source of happiness, because we've invested a lot of energy, a lot of time, a lot of, you know, what our life is about in investing happiness in those things, and we don't want to have to change. Yeah, so we're upset by having to change, you know. Whereas actually, you know, the way to see it with wisdom is, okay, those things aren't the cause of happiness, then let's get on with it, you know, drop them, and let's do something that is going to cause happiness, you know, instead of being upset and mourning and trying to make them turn out to be happiness one way or another because we have so much invested in it. Just say, well, it's not working, okay, let's do what I'm going to do to work, for something to work. So I thought of an analogy, you know, that might make it easier to understand. So let's say that you're somebody from the East Coast who came to California to mine gold, okay? So you get to this place that is reputed to have lots of gold, yeah? You set yourself up, you have a nice house, you have everything, you know, and you have a nice setup there. And you're, you know, and you're panning for gold, and you get just a little bit here, you know, but it's not kind of coming the way you thought it was going to be. And then somebody comes along and says, you know, I've been here, there's no gold. You know, you're wasting your time panning for gold here because I've been here and I've seen this. Now, how do we react, you know? Now, if you're a smart person, you say, thank you so much for telling me. Tell me where the gold is, and I'll go there. And that person says, well, you go over here, and, you know, you're going to find gold there. So the smart person says, okay, boy, I've been saved a lot of, you know, hassle and headache and disappointment and disillusionment and wasted effort. by this person telling me this, and I've also seen that I haven't gotten so much gold. But this person's kind and tells me this, and they also tell me gold's over there, so let's follow what they have. That's what the smart person does. The foolish person says, but I've built a house here. Yeah? And I have a nice house here, and it's a comfortable house. And, you know, I don't want to move my house to go look for gold somewhere else. You know? It's like I have this nice house, so I want to stay here, and I'll just look for gold here. And you know, that person who told me there's no gold, that they've been here before, they might be wrong. I mean, what do they know? Yeah, because I've actually found these little bitty bits, and you know, there really might be more, and I don't think I should trust what that person says. And anyway, I'm too lazy. I don't want to build another house over there. So your house is your whole ego identity that you've invested in trying to get happiness from the gold, which is the worldly things. And you've invested a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of your ego identity. You're so lazy. Who wants to have to set up another ego identity when you look somewhere else? Then I have to go through and I have to set up an ego identity as a Dharma practitioner, and I have to do this and that that's different than what I'm doing now, and I have my whole routine and I'm so comfortable in it. Why do I have to change? Yeah. But the nice thing is, as a Dharma practitioner, you don't have to set up another ego identity. You know? You just go where there's the gold, and, you know, you live happily. Okay? And there, you know, you don't need to be upset, yeah, at either the place where you thought there was gold or at the person who told you, who's the Buddha, you know. You just say, thanks so much, no gold. You say there's gold here, I'm going. Okay? So do you see how you know, it's this mind of entrenched, you know, self-grasping and entrenched laziness that doesn't want to eliminate the self-grasping, that gets us in this thing of, you know, oh, this is depressing, you know, and I wish the Buddha didn't tell me that. I mean, I know I'm miserable. But, I have my whole setup here in samsara. I don't want to have to change it. Okay? Yeah, so you see the difference between being a foolish person who listens to the Dharma, or being a lazy person who listens, and being, you know, a wise person who just, whew, that saved me a whole lot of hassle. I'm off over here looking for the gold. Okay, and that person's happy about it, aren't they? You know, it's like, oh, I'm so relieved, you know. Yeah. So in that same way, instead of mourning and feeling depressed, we should really feel, you know, relieved and happy to find out where the gold is, where the true happiness lies.